because I have earlier promised you to send you a model answer. That is on the Battle of Panipat. Why did the earth-shaking battles take place in Panipat alone? But my friends, I just send you the model answer on Monday. Due to my, you can say, involvement somewhere, I could not send you today. But up to Monday, I'll just send you. And as I have told you, we have started a new tradition with you people. After coming to class, I used to place 5 questions, 5 MCQ, multiple choice questions to you. And these questions will make you mentally alert and even alert at your home in course of revision work. Because whenever you will be doing the revision work, you will be mentally alert in tomorrow's class. So I will ask me some multiple choice questions, and there I am supposed to give the correct answer of all the 5 questions. We have not to commit any mistake in the question. So that will definitely make you more alert, more cautious, and more accountable. So let us start from the 5 questions now. Question number 1. Now students, be fast. Which of the following is correct regarding India during the first half of 18th century? First one, it was a period of political disintegration. Point 2, it was a period of economic decay. Up code A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, both 1 and 2, D, neither 1 nor 2. So my students, there are 2 statements, and you have to find out whether the statements are correct or wrong. Be fast, be responsive, be quick. Maximum C. My students, here I am just going to differ with you slightly, because so far as the question of political fragmentation is concerned, it is undoubtedly correct, this statement, because this period is marked by political fragmentation and multi-state system was the common feature. So I am not going to, you can say, question or put a question mark to the statement 1. But as for the statement 2, you know, this period is marked by the advent of bullion. Bullion is precious metal in India. This period is marked by the introduction of cash crops and expansion of, you can say, agriculture in India. So it is not wise to select it, the point number 2. So point number 2, it was a period of economic decay, so that is wrong. What about regarding India in the first half of 18th century? So this is correct and this is incorrect, so I think you, my students, you should have selected point number 1 only. So that is the correct answer. Question number 2. Who among the following was not part of the Maratha Confederacy? Now you have to find out which was not the part of Maratha Confederacy. Point 1, Holkar of Indore. Point 2, Gaikwar of Baroda. Point 3, Chhatrapati of Satara. Twice A, 2 only. Twice B, 1, 2 and 3. Twice C, 1 and 3. And twice D, 3 only. My student, be fast and responsive, please. Yes, you are correct. You are 100% correct. D is the correct answer. Question number 3. How many battles were fought between the British and the French company in Carnatic War? My friends, Carnatic War I have not so far taught you. I am going to accept this. I have not so far taught you Carnatic War. But my friends, the second half of 18th century, you have already at your own, you might have gone through my PDF. So there you might have counted how many wars were fought in Carnatic. So please select. Twice A, only 1, B, only 2, C, 3, and D, 4. That is correct. The Carnatic War. Question number 4. What was the correct sequence of arrival of European companies in India? About European companies, I have not so far taught you. But my friends, at your own, you have to select the answer because you might have gone through my PDF. So I can expect you people to answer this question. And there is the, you can say, sequence of the European companies which came to India, A, B, C, D. So my friends, be fast. Fourth, yes, Dutch, British, and French. Yes, you are 100% correct. Fourth is the correct answer. Question number 5. Now we have to solve a reasoning. I have told you of the choices of reasoning. In choice number A, both A and R correct, and R is the correct explanation for A. Choice number B, both are correct, but R is not the correct explanation for A. Choice number C, A is true, A is correct, R is wrong, and D, A is correct, R is wrong. So, my student, assertion, in the 15th century, European countries started their mission in geographical exploration. In the 15th century, European countries started their mission in geographical exploration. Geographical exploration means sea voyage. That is called sea voyage. Reason, they wanted to build a big empire in the East. So there are the 2 statements. My friends, I have not so far taught you. Even this statement has not been taught by you. But at least on the basis of my PDF, you people are intelligent and you can surmise what should be the possible answer. So be fast. Yes, C is the correct answer. My friends, at that time when European companies were formed, European companies could never nourish the ambition of conquering East. Because in East you will find there were the mighty empires like Persian Empire in Iran, you know, and Safavid Empire in Iran, in Persia, you know, Mughal Empire in India, Manchu Empire in China. So in presence of such mighty empire, can they imagine, can they make a plan for the conquest of the East, conquest of Asia? It was practically impossible. How did they deal with the coastal regions of African continent? How did they deal with the American people, the Red Indians, the natives of America? And how did they deal with Asians? So you will find there you can say, a major difference between the two, the way of treatment that were meted to Asians and the same which meted to Americans at that time. Because after all, you can वजह सोच कर आते. I am just catering to the interest of both the students. So that's why I will give you support with some Hindi words as well. You will not find difficult. But once again, I am repeating, even though the students who are coming from English background, so that will help you at least in talkative English if you will continue conversation in English. So my students, all of you should try to speak in English as much as possible. और हिंदी सपोर्ट में शब्द का देता रहूंगा आपको. अब बताइए ईस्ट में उस समय इतने माइटी इंपायर्स थे, पर्शियन इंपायर थे, मुगल इंपायर थे, मंचू इंपायर थे. तो क्या इतने बड़े बड़े इंपायर को होते हुए कैन दे इमेजिन दैट कि हमको एशिया को जीतना है, उसको कंकर करना है? नहीं ना. इसलिए my students, अब now you have to move to history of 18th century. Now I am making a diagram. We have moved to the second half of 18th century as for the model answer. So that is, I am owing some debt to you, which will be paid back up to Monday. I can give the dictation in the board, but that will be slightly boring for you because it will be the time taking. You have to draw a diagram with me. Second half of 18th century. Second half of 18th century. We have to deal with the issues. Why did European countries start sea voyages in 15th century. Okay. Why did they prefer trade to east? Then how did discovery of America prove useful for them? What was the sequence of European companies to India? Why did Carnatic War occur? What was the significance of war? What was the significance of war? Then why did British company move from mercantile activities to political activities? Mercantile activities to political activities. And last one. Why did Battle of Plassey and that of Buxar occur? Battle of Plassey and that of Buxar occur. what was significance of the battle, significance of the battle. If you will answer so many questions, it is not a question answer form. Simply you have to go through it and you should try to find out the answer. Once you find out the answer, the second half of 18th century would be crystal clear. अब देखो मैं इसको थोड़ा सा हिंदी में भी बोल देता हूँ, मिक्स्ड लैंग्वेज में. ये क्या है, हमारा इसमें एजेंडा क्या है. Actually, first, like, why did European countries start sea voyaging in 15th century? मतलब why did these countries start sea voyaging in 15th century? मतलब इन्होंने जो नए नए क्षेत्रों की खोज है, डिस्कवरी है, वो 15th century में क्यों शुरू की? पहला मुद्दा ये उठे. दूसरा, why did they prefer trade to east? मतलब उन्होंने ईस्ट की तरफ जो ट्रेड है उसको क्यों प्रेफर किया, क्या वजह थी? एंड हाउ डिड डिस्कवरी ऑफ अमेरिका प्रूव यूजफुल फॉर देम? अब देखो, अमेरिका वाज डिस्कवर्ड बाय नो वन, इट वाज जस्ट एन एक्सीडेंट इन हिस्ट्री, बट दिस एक्सीडेंट वाज गोइंग टू बी मच बेनिफिशियल फॉर दिस गाइज, फॉर यूरोपियन कंट्रीज. देन व्हाट वाज द सीक्वेंस ऑफ यूरोपियन कंपनीज, सॉरी, what was the sequence of the arrival? Sequence of the arrival of European companies to India. Sorry, to India, arrival in India. European companies in India. मतलब क्या उनका क्रम रहा, मतलब कौन पहले आया फिर उसके बाद कौन आया. Why did Carnatic War occur? What was the significance of war? अब ये Carnatic War क्या था, इसका क्या significance है? And why did British company move from mercantile activities to political activities? जब कंपनी आई यहाँ व्यापार करने, तो मर्केंटाइल एक्टिविटीज की से मतलब व्यापारिक गतिविधियों से राजनीतिक गतिविधियों की तरफ क्यों गई? एंड व्हाई डिड बैटल ऑफ पलासी एंड दैट ऑफ बक्सर अकर? व्हाट वाज द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ द बैटल? आखिर ये पलासी का बैटल और बक्सर का बैटल हुआ क्यों, और इसका महत्व, इसका सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है? इतनी चीजों की जानकारी हमें प्राप्त करनी है. अब माय फ्रेंड्स, आई एम जस्ट मूविंग टू कंटेंट आई हैव गिवन टू यू, एंड I have given you the PDF from the content, and after that I will send you the part 2, that is colonialism. And whenever I have to deal with colonialism, here I have to make you clear. Simultaneously, I will give you a book list for self-studies as well. But earlier than that, I just want to know from you people, are you going through the NCERT book? I have prescribed for you the NCERT book for class 8, because after that you have to go to the NCERT book class 12. I will give you the information. But for class 8, please my friends, make me assured, are you going through the NCERT book class 8? आप लोग जा रहे हो ना? ठीक है. अब हम लोग बढ़ते हैं वन बाय वन, इसका जवाब हमें देना है. The second half of it. From here, let me start. The characteristic of this period is arrival of the European trading companies in India, their relations with each other and with the Indian states, and the transformation of the British company from a trading company into a political power. That is the motto of our topic. First of all, here I have to make you clear. Just let me explain. First of all, I have raised the issue, why did European companies which came to India, my question is, why did sea voyages started? So my friends, here I have to give you the information first. On the basis of a map, I have to make you clear. Actually, you are supposed to observe here the map of the world. This is Roman Empire, and this is Western Roman Empire, this is Eastern Roman Empire. Western Roman Empire declined up to the 5th century, up to the end of 5th century, मतलब 5वीं सदी के अंत तक, 5th century के end तक Western Roman Empire disintegrate कर चुका था. परंतु जिसको तुम Byzantine Empire, Eastern Roman Empire कहते हो, that survived up to 1453. उसको 1453 तक it survived. And there you find this is the Black Sea, and this is the spot what is known as Constantinople. This is the spot that is known as Constantinople. And Constantinople was the capital of Byzantine Empire, or Eastern Roman Empire. Today, it is the part and parcel of Turkey, modern Turkey, and today it is known as Istanbul, because the name was changed by Mustafa Kemal Pasha, the illustrious general of Turkey. So this is Constantinople, and it was on the nerve center at that time. In fact, from Central Asia, there was a group of Turks, or you can say invading Turkish group, so that was known as Ottoman Turks. So Ottoman Turks were making the persistent efforts to conquer Byzantine Empire or Eastern Roman Empire. So due to the consistent efforts made by Ottoman Turks, finally, Eastern Roman Empire or Byzantine Empire was defeated and its capital, Constantinople, was captured. मतलब कि जो ईस्टर्न रोमन एम्पायर है, जो बिजेंटियन एम्पायर है, उसको अंत में ऑटोमन टर्क्स ने जीत लिया और इनके जो कैपिटल है, उसके कैपिटल कॉन्स्टेंटिनोपल पर कब्जा कर लिया. This event has taken place in 1453. In the history of Europe, it was known as the decline of Constantinople. It was known as the decline of Constantinople, and it was to दुनिया का पता. अब it was having a greater implication for the fact move towards east, almost all the roads were blocked. Up here you can say, you may be a bit curious to what roads were open to India. So here I have to inform you. In fact, there was a route, and this route was, actually this map was here missing here, later I just made it here. Actually there were the four important routes in India for moving to, you can say, India. One route was just moving from Persian Gulf, and from Persian Gulf it was through crossing Persia, and then by the side of Iran it was moving to Mediterranean Sea. Another route was moving through Red Sea, and while crossing some, you can say, a chunk of the land, then it was just entering into the Mediterranean Sea. The third route was just moving from the land route, moving from Iraq to Iran and finally into Mediterranean Sea. And one route was going from northward direction by the side of the Black Sea, and then it was moving to Mediterranean Sea. So right from the time of Alexander's invasion on India during ancient period, the four important routes were kept open between India and Europe. मतलब ये जो चार routes थे, चार routes India and Europe के बीच खुल चुके थे जब से अलेक्जेंडर ने इन्वेजन किया था, मतलब एंशिएंट टाइम. But now after the decline of Constantinople, all the four routes were blocked. Because if Christian merchant, because this period is marked by some sort of crusades, or you can say a holy war between the Christian power and Muslim power. If the Christian merchants could have traded the region and could have moved into the region or penetrated into the region, the Muslim soldiers might have captured them and forcibly converted them into Islam. मतलब अगर उस रास्ते से वो गुजरते तो पता चलता कि उनको मुस्लिम सोल्जर्स ने पकड़कर और जबरन उन्हें क्रिश्चियनिटी में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. So for that fear, the European merchants just left this route. They just deserted the route. They were not daring to move to the route. But it was the time the Oriental goods means Eastern goods which were being produced in Eastern part of Asia, so they were in heavy demand. The goods का बहुत demand था. So it was the time there was the rise of, because there was the expansion of agriculture in Europe, and as the result of the expansion of agriculture, there was the rise of an agrarian, you can say, prosperous class, or you can say an elite class, or you can say a landlord class. So it was the landlord class which was in need of luxury goods from east. But this route was disrupted due to, you can say, role of this Ottoman Empire, and particularly you can say that Ottoman Empire was blocked the eastern route. So then the Muslim merchants came into the power. It was the Arabian merchants and Turkish merchants who started to dominate the trade in the east. Particularly you can say it was the time spices, or Indian and Eastern spices, were in heavy demand in Europe. What was the use of spices? You may be a bit curious. They were not consuming spices as their food item, but rather the spices were working as freezing material. Freezing material, there was the larger and larger quantity of production of mutton, meat. So in order to preserve the meat, they were just using this freezing material, and that was these were spices. So they were in the need of spices. Muslim merchants just developed the trade monopoly over spice trade. They became the largest distributor of spices in Europe, and the spices were being sold at the very exorbitant rate. मतलब उन्होंने क्या किया था कि पूरे स्पाइस ट्रेड जो मसाला व्यापार है उस पर अपना कंट्रोल स्थापित कर दिया, और बड़े महंगे दामों में वो यूरोप में अपने स्पाइसेस को बेचते, अपने मसालों को बेचते थे. So as it was already, you can say, there was the religious strife between the Christian and the Muslim power. So on the matter of religion, division was already lying between the two. And then there was another class of interest, that was the class of economic interest as well, because Mediterranean Sea almost converted into a backwater, and the Christian merchants were overpowered or cornered out from the race. So they were also searching for new opportunities. And as there was the rise of monarchy in Europe, European monarchs were noticing the ambition to capture the international trade and to benefit their own nation. In this way, you can say the three important interests convert on a single point. One interest was the religious interest, another was the political interest of the monarchy, third one was the mercantile interest or economic interest of the mercantile class. So all were going to converge on a single point. मतलब मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि उस समय क्या था, यूरोप में मोनार्की का राइज हो रहा था. तो यूरोप के जो मोनार्क थे वो सोचते थे ना मुझे नए अपॉर्चुनिटी ट्रेड के मिलेंगे तो हम ज्यादा पावरफुल हो जाएंगे. उधर यूरोप में जो मर्चेंट्स थे, क्रिश्चियन मर्चेंट्स, वो बेचारे अपने आप को लूजर फील कर रहे थे, अरे मुस्लिम मर्चेंट्स की बाहर आ गई, हम तो रह गए. और तीसरी चीज आ रही थी कि रिलीजियस इशू था, उधर रोम का पोप परेशान हो रहा था कि भाई मुस्लिम वर्ल्ड ने हमारा रास्ता रोक रखा है. तो दैट्स व्हाई सी वॉइस स्टार्टेड. And two countries who took the initiative, here you will just observe on the map later, this map is not available here, here you can see, this is Africa, this is Europe, you will find. So you will come to know that this is Spain and this is Portugal. Spain and Portugal, they ruled the roost, they started sea voyaging and almost decided by two, you will have to move towards, actually basic objective was to discover an alternative route to India. Because up to this period, they came to realize that this earth is round. If earth is round, so even if you are moving to west direction or east direction, we are supposed to reach the same destination. So Spain was just supposed to move in west direction, Portugal in east direction by the side of the African coast towards India, and both had to try to find out a new route to India. So they were not searching and they were not discovering America, because America was in oblivion at that time. America के बारे में तो कोई जानता ही नहीं था, कोई अमेरिका को नहीं खोज रहा था. अमेरिका बहुत एक तरह से समझो एकदम अनलॉक किया है, because no one was discovering America, but It was in this course, you can say, there was, although he was an Italian sailor, but he was sponsored by Spain, and his name was Columbus. So in 1492, he discovered America. And surprisingly, when he discovered America, he was himself not aware of the fact that he did such a great work, he discovered a new continent. Rather, he was under the impression he reached up to the eastern part of India. मतलब कोलंबस को खुद भी पता नहीं था कि उसने एक नया कॉन्टिनेंट को डिस्कवर किया. उसको तो लगता था कि मैं इंडिया के ईस्टर्न पार्ट पर चला गया. It was happy at the phenomena. We have discovered the eastern part of India. And anyway, he died under this wrong impression till the last, Then in 1498, Vasco da Gama discovered an alternative route to India, and he moved to India. You can see he just reached up to Malabar coast. Whenever you will just observe here, you will come to realize he reached up to Malabar coast. And this way, from this route, by the side of Africa, and then he just Arabian Sea, then he come to Indian Ocean, and then he reached up to Malabar coast. And it was at Malabar coast he anchored at the port that is Calicut, and then you can see India was discovered. So when another route towards alternative route to India was discovered, up to this period, the whole, you can say, Arabian Sea was being dominated by Arabian merchants. So it was named was Arabian Sea, so Arabian merchants. So Arabian merchants were shocked after observing Vasco da Gama. Initially, they tried to just eliminate him, finish the whole crew, so that the Europeans should not be allowed to know about this alternative route. But it was the ruler of Calicut, his name was Jamorin. So Jamorin saved and defended this Vasco da Gama because Jamorin was having its own axe to grind. Actually, Jamorin was working on the impression if the even European merchants would come to this region, and Arabian merchants are already active, so free competition will take place, and that will be beneficial for us because you will impose the duty on both the merchants and earn the money. It was under this impression Jamorin saved and defended Vasco da Gama. So in this way, Vasco da Gama was saved. So my friends, now we have come to know in this way alternative route for India was discovered. But one thing, you people should know, America was an unloved child, but it became most lovely. Why? Spain discovered Southern America. Spain discovered Southern America. So firstly, Spain colonized Southern America. And a part of Southern America was colonized by Portugal, that was Brazil. And then the British, Dutch and French. All felt lost up. कि भाई ब्रिटिश फ्रेंच और डच को लग रहा था यार हम लोग तो रह गए, स्पेनिश और पुर्तगाली ने बाजी मार दिया. पुर्तगाली ने इंडिया वाले रूट को भी डिस्कवर कर लिया. तो उन्हें लगा कि भाई इसने तो ग्लोबल इंपायर कायम कर लिया, हम तो रह गए. So British, Dutch and French, they started new discovery. It was in this course they discovered the Northern America. So natives in Southern America and Northern America, they were called Red Indians. Why were they called Red Indians? Because when Columbus discovered Southern America, so he was under the impression that as if he had discovered India. So the natives of the region were known as Indians. But as their color was scented, and then you can say dark green Indians, so that's why they were known as Red Indians. So then the people of Northern America were called Red Indians. But these people just, you can say, manhandled the natives. They suppressed the natives. They even killed a large number of natives. And worst of all, they just, you can say, carried with them a very, you can say, an epidemic at that time. And this epidemic was the epidemic of pox. So they carried with them the epidemic, means some African slave brought the epidemic there because they were doing the slave trade. And 90% population in Southern America just died. Latin America. 90% population. So it was due to the fact, you can imagine that in Southern America at that time the two important civilizations were there, Inca and Aztec. So in spite of both the civilizations, only 1,500 or some 100 people of Europe could defeat the two civilizations, destroy two civilizations and conquer Southern America. How was it possible? Because the killer disease eliminated a large number of population. मतलब 90% लोगों को तो पॉक्स में जो चेचक की बीमारी में मर गया, तो 1,000-1,500 सोल्जर्स यूरोपियंस थे उसने लैटिन अमेरिका. Northern America could resist more strongly. It was difficult for Spain to conquer Northern America, but it was British, Dutch and French who could conquer Northern America, and then Britain could develop their 13 colonies in eastern part, Canada, and some part was captured by Dutch. Even Spain is captured Mexico. In this way, you can see even Northern America was divided. At that time, the European companies even colonized coastal region of African continent. But keep in your mind, coastal region. Coastal region, why? Because they already know that they could not move outside of the coastal region. This is the Red Sea, my friends. This is Persian Gulf. This is Red Sea. This is Malabar. And in this way, they just discovered here, and then they moved to Southeast Asia. So up to 17th century, they could discover almost all whole of the world except Australia and interior region of African continent. Interior region of African continent for the fact that because at that time in interior region there was one difficulty, and that was the malaria mosquito. And there was no defense against malaria mosquito because even the medicine like quinine was not discovered so far. So that's why they preferred to colonize the coastal region of Africa, and they carried the slave trade in Africa. So it was the case. In India, you can say it was the Portuguese who came first in India, and then it was Portuguese, when Vasco da Gama, he just appeared in 1500, then again he came to 1502. And whenever, in a, you can say, a full ship, spices, he carried with him, and so these spices were sold in Europe. Its cost was 60 times more than its, you can say, purchasing cost. So now Portuguese came to realize that the spice trade is very beneficial for them. तो 1502 में फिर आया, 1505 में पोर्चुगीजों ने एक अपना, मैंने आपको यहाँ पर पोर्चुगीज कंपनी के बारे में दिया हुआ है, क्योंकि मैंने ऑलरेडी दिया हुआ है तो मुझे लगता है कि आप लोग उसको पढ़ लोगे. जैसे 1505 में they created a post of governor, and who was the governor? D. Almeida, the governor. I have already informed you. And D. Almeida, he became the first governor. Later, he was succeeded by Albuquerque. Albuquerque was very ambitious. He put a snatch Goa from Vijayapur. Earlier, the headquarters of Portuguese was Cochin. Later, it was Goa. Later, not here at the time of Nino de Cunha, much later. And then you can see the Portuguese. Up here, I have to inform you that there were the three areas of trade. Starting from, this is Persian Gulf. And here you know, this is the Ormuz coast. Sorry, not Ormuz Port, Ormuz Port. So from Ormuz Port to Arabian Sea, that is the one part, or one segment of the trade. And then from Arabian Sea to Indian Ocean, second segment of the trade. And third segment moving from Bay of Bengal up to Malacca in Indonesia. So that is the third segment of the trade. So there are total three segments of trade. And Portuguese at that time were having the control over all the three segments of the trade. मतलब मैं आपको बताना चाहता, जब पार्ट में काउंट करेंगे, तो ये देखिए ये फारस की खाड़ी है, पर्शियन गल्फ. यहाँ पर एक पोर्ट है, बंदरगाह है, उसका नाम है ओरमुज. ओरमुज बड़ा फेमस है वो, आज भी उसकी चर्चा होती है. ओरमुज से शुरू करके आप अगर अरबियन सी के गुजरात कोस्ट तक आप जाएंगे तो वह एक ट्रेड का सेगमेंट था, एक पार्ट था. सेकंड वन पार्ट शुरू होता है यहाँ से अरबियन कोस्ट से, ये गुजरात कोस्ट से, और इंडियन ओशन, हिंद महासागर तक चला जाएगा. और जो थर्ड पार्ट है स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम इंडियन ओशन अप टू इट इज मूविंग, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम बे ऑफ बंगाल, बंगाल की खाड़ी से शुरू होकर मलक्का. और ये तीनों पार्ट के जो होल ऑफ जो ओशनिक एम्पायर है, तो द होल ऑफ ओशनिक एम्पायर वर डोमिनेटेड बाय द सिंगल पावर इन Portuguese. Because no other European companies were in competition at that time. So Portuguese was having the dominance, and the whole of the oceanic empire of Portuguese was known as Estado de India. It was known as Estado de India. We have to observe it. Now, just to observe it. So this is Portuguese company I have told you. Estado de India. I have already informed you. Then, you know, one unique thing. Portuguese company introduced a very unique thing which made it unpopular. You might have heard about the Cartaz system. The whole name is Cartaz Anda Kafila system. What is this system? So in fact, the attention of Portuguese was diverted from the actual trade, and now Portuguese preferred to, you can say, collect the custom duty from Indian powers. Means they just created the pressure over the Indian estates and the Indian merchants. If you are just plying your ship in the ocean, so before bringing your ship in the ocean, you are supposed to purchase a permit from us or take a permission from us. In return, you are supposed to pay for the permission. And what is the permit? Permit is Carthage. And you have to purchase a permit from me. If you are just purchasing the permit, then you will give defense, and you will defend or provide security to your ship. My naval power will follow your ship, and it will save your ship, merchant ship, from any other power or any other plunderer. But if you are not paying money for to us against your, you can say, mercantile ship, so in that case, you will treat your ship as if it is a war booty, and we have to plunder it. मतलब तुमको हमें शिप को पे करना पड़ेगा. आप जब ओशन में अपने शिप को लाओगे तो पहले आप हमसे करताज परचेज करो. करताज परचेज करोगे तो आप उसको पैसे देने होंगे, और अगर आपने ऐसा नहीं किया तो हम आपके शिप को लूट का माल समझ के लूट लेंगे और डुबो देंगे पानी. बताइए, इतना एक्सट्रीम उनका फॉर्म था. एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड द Cartaz Anda Kafila system. So that's why they became unpopular gradually, and Portugal was, after all, a smaller state. It could not compete with other powers for a long time, and above all, a time will come that Portugal was conquered by Spain, so it became the part and parcel of Spain. And when in the beginning of 17th century, two other powers came to India. One was Dutch, another was British. East India Company was formed in 1600 at the time of Queen Elizabeth, and Dutch East India Company was formed in 1602. But Dutch Company came first, and then appeared British Company in India. So what is the sequence? Portuguese, Dutch, British, and lastly French. But one more company is there. I have not asked about the company Dane. It didn't play any important role in Indian trade. So normally Dane means from Denmark, but this company is normally ignored because it didn't play any significant role in Indian mercantile system. It came in 1616 in Trankova. It made its headquarters in 1620, and later, while selling its whole assets to British in India, they just, you can say, bid farewell to India in 18th century. But Dane came even before French. So sequence is Portuguese, Dutch, yes, Dutch, British, Dane, and French. So this is the same sequence. Mr. Ankur, my students are okay? Or any question? Yes, Estado da India servant, this is the name of the company. Portuguese ne, not sorry company, but the Oceanic Empire. Portuguese created a big Oceanic Empire. एक बहुत बड़े सामुद्रिक साम्राज्य को क्रिएट किया था, ओशनिक एम्पायर को क्रिएट किया था, जो स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम अरबियन सी अप टू बे ऑफ बंगाल और Indian Ocean was also part of it. In this way, it created a big oceanic empire that was called Estado de India. It was the name of Estado de India. Yes, surprisingly, what is the name? Here is one thing I have to inform you. Surprisingly, Mughal Empire. Mughal Empire was after all a paramount power in India, you know. But you will be surprised to know that even Mughal Empire didn't dare to deny the purchasing of this Carthage. Because, you know, this Carthage, you know, actually Portuguese company used to give some complimentary ships to Mughal Empire. Means Mughal Empire was respected and given reverence by the Portuguese company. 5 to 6 ships were allowed freely. The Mughal emperor could move 5 to 6 ships in ocean freely. For that, they are not supposed to give any charge. But after that, even Mughal king was supposed to purchase the Carthage. Because in India, no naval force was matching for Portuguese. Portuguese was at that time maintaining the most powerful naval force in Asia. In Asia, there was no reply to Portuguese ship. Its ship was, you can say, that was the cannon attached ship. The Portuguese ships were, you can say, attached with the cannons, and it was having a heavy, you can say, it was having a heavy capacity for fighting. So no Asian country or no Asian naval power dared to give a direct challenge to Portuguese. If Portuguese was challenged, it was from Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was also maintaining the powerful ship, but Ottoman Empire was not an Asian power. It was lying in East Europe, and even Ottoman Empire could not defeat Portuguese. At the time of Europeans, Byzantine Empire was itself European. Byzantine Empire was, you can say, itself European. In 1453, it was Ottoman power. Ottoman was the Muslim power. Ottomans were Muslims who defeated Eastern Byzantine Empire. What I have told you, at that time there was religious strife. One was the Christian power, one was the Muslim power. So conflict was going on between the Christian power and Muslim power. Where you are informed that basically it was a Muslim power. Byzantine Empire was, you can say, a Christian power. And Ottomans, you can say Ottoman Turks, they were Muslims, so they defeated Byzantine Empire and captured its capital. Now how do they approach outsiders? Because trade was beneficial for India. Problem started when the mercantile companies started to dominate India. I will discuss with you. If they came for doing trade, then why did? 2 to 3 things I will discuss with you, then you will be crystal clear. If they just came for doing the trade, so they came for doing the trade, why did they move for political adventure? It was due to certain reasons. I will discuss with you. Yes, blue water policy means dominance on the ocean. Blue water policy means, even today you find, sometimes you can say Indian experts are writing that China is following blue water policy. Because China just tried to dominate the, you can say, South China Sea, East China Sea. And now China also started, and China was also aiming for dominating Indian Ocean, which India is countering. So blue water policy means dominance on sea. Actually, earlier they came for the spice trade. Okay, my friends. But the basic problem is that what I am stating. Be mentally alert. Are you mentally alert or not? It's my, you can say, very pet word. So gradually you people will be used to the word like intellectual fermentation, mental alert, etc. First thing, let me explain. I have told you, in fact, Europeans were not discovering America. And Europeans were not inclined to discover America. But America was discovered accidentally. I have told you. Actually, Columbus was discovering the alternative route to India. It confronted America accidentally. And then you can say America was discovered. But my friends, here we have to bring to your notice one important thing. America was discovered accidentally, but discovery of America proved much beneficial. Discovery of America proved much beneficial for Europeans. Why? Because they were inclined to do the trade with Asian countries. But trade with Asian countries was one-sided. One-sided means the Asian products were in heavy demand in Europe, but not vice versa. But no European product was in demand in Asia. The question arises, if they are so much enthusiastic for carrying trade with Asia or India, if they could have purchased the Indian products or Asian products, so what they were supposed to give in return? Because no other product was in demand in Asia. मेरी बात समझ रहे हैं? जैसे वो बहुत ज़्यादा enthusiastic थे कि हम एशिया से ट्रेड करें, ठीक है, आप ट्रेड करना चाहते हो, आप एशियन प्रोडक्ट को परचेज करोगे तो पे कैसे करोगे? तब तो डॉलर सिस्टम नहीं था, और आपका बार्टर सिस्टम भी नहीं चल सकता था क्योंकि वहां का कोई प्रोडक्ट यहाँ डिमांड तो नहीं था. Thanks to American precious metal, silver and gold, silver from Latin America and gold from Northern America. So they used to purchase Asian products, and in return they were making payment of gold and silver from American money. But my students, gradually, they are being tormented for the fact that we are just collecting this yellow metal, the precious metal from other continents, and that can be our preserve, that could have been our property, but we are simply sending and, you can say, throwing property for Asian products. So gradually idea started to persist in their mind if there could have been some arrangement in which we could have arranged the finance from Asia, and through Asian finance we could have purchased the Asian products. We should not be compelled to bring precious metal from Europe, from our own country. Rather, funds should be arranged in Asia, funds should be created in Asia, and with this fund we have to purchase Asian products. अब उनके मन में शैतानी आने लगी कि कितना बढ़िया होता कि हम एशिया से ही फंड जुटा लेते और यहीं से प्रोडक्ट खरीदते। अपने इसी डिस्कवरी में और अपने इसी उम्मीद में पोर्चुगीजों ने कार्टाज सिस्टम को इंट्रोड्यूस किया कि कार्टाज से जो हम पैसा कस्टम ड्यूटीज को कलेक्ट करेंगे उसी ड्यूटी से हम इंडियन प्रोडक्ट्स को परचेज करेंगे, यानी कि स्पाइसेस। आई थिंक माय फ्रेंड्स यू मे बी क्लियर। So this is the point. So that's why they prefer to Carthage system. But now here I have to inform you that now the Dutch company, the British company had to come to India, and then Dutch and the British company had to carry the trade in their own manner. So gradually they have to move from the mercantile activity to political adventure, which I have to discuss with you. Mr. Ankur, if my friends are clear, I can move further. If you are eager about the knowledge of the black hole tragedy, so for that you are supposed to allow me to reach up to the Battle of Plassey. But we can reach up to the Battle of Plassey after going through the topic like Carnatic War and European countries. So please make me free first. Up to this point, are you clear? If any difficulty up to this point, then I am always here to help you. Otherwise, allow me to move further. What is your situation? My friends, are you confident up to this point? Mr. Ankur, ask them. Be fast and inform me. Up to this point, are you clear? Then we have to move further, and then I will discuss about what you just want to know, black hole tragedy or etc. Yes, then I am moving further. So my friends, up then there was the advent of the Dutch company and British company. Up here I have to inform you two things. Are you mentally alert? There are two different types of company. One type of company is the government company. Government company was formed by government, and the government was dominating the whole company in policy making. So company was being run by the government. Portuguese company was such an example, and later you will come to know French company was also a government company. But the British company and Dutch company are the different breed. It was the latest version of the company, because for that you find a name, and the name is the joint stock company. That is known as joint stock company. So make me clarify it. What is joint stock company? Joint stock company is the company which was being formed after an association of 100 and 150 merchants. But this company was not simply confined to the membership of 100 or 200 merchants. Rather, it used to issue the share into the market, and whosoever was purchasing the share, they were entitled to a part of the profit of the company. So such company was known as joint stock company. Means this company used to issue the shares in the market, and those who were just purchasing the share, they were entitled to a part of the profit. So a part of the profit, so that is known as joint stock. I think my students are clear? Joint stock company. So British company and Dutch company were the joint stock company. Joint stock company was the latest version of the company. It was having the larger economic capacity because it could have mobilized the larger quantity of resources which was not possible for a government company to mobilize, because government company could not get money from the market, but joint stock company could. First thing. Second one thing is, you will find a third company, that is the charter. Such company was known as chartered company. Now, why chartered company I am taking? Chartered company. Ankur, make them clear, and I am just briefing you, and later I will ask you whether you are clear or not. If I am not clear, then you will ask me the question, because this is the important thing you people are supposed to be clear. Chartered company. Chartered company is, now suppose you can say the East India Company was formed in 1600, and then Queen Elizabeth gave it a charter for trade in the East for 15 years earlier. And later in 1615, when its charter was likely to be lapsed, it was James the First, the Eastward King, so who just gave the charter of trade monopoly to the East India Company to East for an indefinite period. An indefinite period is so far as the charter is not abolished, so company had to enjoy the trade monopoly to East for an indefinite period. Now you can ask me why they were given the charter for an indefinite period. What was the reason behind that? So here I have to make you clear. Actually, at that time, the government was having its own, interest. The interest of the government was, if some bigger country of my country will go somewhere for doing trade, so through trade it will bring much money and resources. So a part of resources we have to appropriate through taxation. So on their profit we have to impose the tax, and a part of the profit would be appropriated by us, by the government. But the government was worried about the fact that if 4 to 5, 6 or 10, whatever might be the number, if too many companies of my own country will move in a single area for trade, almost all of the companies would make a demand of the same thing. The demand of the same product will enhance the cost of the product, so profit would be hampered, and then the company had to run the loss. And if the company had to run the loss, how did the company make us the tax, or make us pay the tax? मतलब how can you earn the tax from the company if company is running in the loss? मतलब उनका ये करना था, उनका ये मानना था, मैं हिंदी में भी बोल देता हूँ ताकि मेरे जो इंग्लिश वाले स्टूडेंट्स समझ में, जैसे इस तरफ वो चार्टर देते थे कि ट्रेड मोनोपोली, मोनोपोली का मतलब हुआ कि सिर्फ यही कंपनी जा सकती थी, दूसरी कोई कंपनी नहीं जा सकती। तो उनका ये मानना था कि अगर हम किसी एक कंपनी को चार्टर दे देते हैं तो कंपनी को मोनोपोली मार्केट मिलेगा, काफी पैसा अर्न करेगी, और उसका जो प्रॉफिट होगा उसका एक पार्ट हम टैक्स के रूप में लेंगे, हमें भी बेनिफिट होगा। अब उनको डर है कि अगर हम इनको मोनोपोली नहीं देंगे तो हमारे यहाँ के 5 to 6 या 7 कंपनी सभी चली जाएगी और वो आपस में कंपटीशन करेगी और सबको एक ही प्रोडक्ट का डिमांड होगा। तो क्या होगा कि उस प्रोडक्ट का कॉस्ट बढ़ जाएगा, तो इसका जब इसका परचेजिंग कॉस्ट जब बढ़ जाएगी कंपनी की, तो प्रॉफिट कम हो जाएगा, हो सकता है लॉस हो जाए, तो फिर हमें भी पैसा नहीं मिलेगा, हमें टैक्स नहीं मिलेगा। तो फॉर दैट फियर दे वर डूइंग दैट। आई थिंक माय स्टूडेंट्स यू मे बी क्लियर। So that's why they were giving the trade monopoly. अब trade monopoly they were giving to their own country and own company or company of their own country. अब suppose you can say कि British company has given the trade monopoly to the East India Company. So the charter by the government was applicable for the British company or the companies in Britain. But did the company in France or company in Holland, means कि Dutch company, British company, Portuguese company, did the company honor this charter? No, never. Because they are not under their, you can say, jurisdiction. So French company will not accept this charter. French company has given charter to its own company. Dutch is given charter to its own company. So at least you can say that the British government could stop the companies of its own country, but it could not stop the company of France, the company of Holland, the company of Denmark, or the company of, you can say, the company of Sweden, Italy, whatever. So my point is that that's why you can say when British company came to the East, so Dutch company was already there, Portuguese company was there, and then later even French company came there. So as 4 to 5 companies were there, so all were making competition with each other, and all were in demand of the same type of products. So that's why there was a fear of competition among themselves, and that was going to hamper the profit of the company. That's why every company was just trying to eliminate its competitor from the market. Every company was inclined to eliminate its competitor from the market. So it led to the conflict between the two companies, or it led to the conflict between the two companies and more than two companies. So in course of the conflict, both the companies used to develop their forts. They were making the fortification, organizing their army, seeking the support of their government. So as this company was, or you can say as this company established its factory in a particular region or under a particular Indian state. So whenever this company was making fortification and doing the military preparation, so this Indian state or the government of the state, or the Indian government, or you can say some you can say a state government and the government in India, so that was making an objection. How can you make fortification in my own region? How can you dare to make force in my region and organize the army and fight in the war? It is running against my sovereign power. You are not allowed to do that. So this phenomenon led to the conflict between an European company and Indian state last. हिंदी से you can say conflict was going on. मतलब क्या कि ये कंपनी क्या करती थी, अपने राइवल को हटाने के लिए मिलिट्री प्रिपरेशन करती थी, फोर्ट बनाती थी, फाइट करती थी। तो जिस रीजन में वो रहती थी, तो वहां पर तो कोई इंडियन स्टेट के रीजन में रहती थी, जैसे हो सकता है हैदराबाद के निजाम के अंतर्गत हो, कर्नाटक के नवाब के अंतर्गत हो, या किसी और कंपनी के। तो दे वर मेकिंग द पॉइंट ऑफ ऑब्जेक्शन कि तुम हमारे रीजन में हो, हमारे नाक के नीचे, और तुम इस तरह से मिलिट्री प्रिपरेशन करोगे, फोर्ट बनाओगे, तो मेरी जो सॉवरेंटी है उसके अगेंस्ट में जाएगी। तो वो ऑब्जेक्ट करती थी। तो इसी मुद्दे पर इंडियन स्टेट से भी कंफ्लिक्ट हो। कैन आई मेक यू क्लियर, मिस्टर अंकुर? Just ask my students what their situation. Are they clear or any confusion? हिंदी में बताओ। देखो, ज्वाइंट स्टेट का मतलब वैसे अगर कोई हिंदी वाले हो और तुम्हें दिक्कत हो तो बोल देना, क्योंकि मेरे जो अंग्रेजी वाले इंग्लिश वाले स्टूडेंट्स उनको इंग्लिश में बोल ही देता हूँ तो समझ ही लेते होंगे। और किसी को भी दिक्कत हो, whether you are coming from purely English background, I am always to help you. If you are coming from English background, I am always here to help you. So my students, it's my avowed duty that none of you should be disturbed and none of you should be a loser. But you people have to cooperate with me. At least let me know. अब लैंग्वेज के कान को अगर नहीं समझ पा रहे, हालांकि ये इंग्लिश वाला क्लास नहीं है, प्योर इंग्लिश वाला क्लास है, इंग्लिश का एक अलग क्लास चलना है, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा सा हेल्प करता हूँ। ज्वाइंट स्टॉक का मतलब होता है, क्या कहूँ हिंदी में शब्द, तो ज्वाइंट स्टॉक का कोई होता ही नहीं, उसको ज्वाइंट स्टॉक ही बोलते हैं। संयुक्त क्या कहोगे, स्टॉक कर सकते हो। तो माय पॉइंट इज कि देखो 100 और 150 मर्चेंट्स हैं, वो मिलकर कंपनी को फॉर्म करते हैं। तो मतलब 100-150 मर्चेंट्स के पास मान लो अगर 50 लाख 60 लाख रुपये हुआ, फिर भी लिमिटेशन, उसके बाद वो क्या करेंगे कि 50 लाख 60 लाख से 1 करोड़ का मार्केट में 500 का, शेयर मार्केट तो समझते हो ना, वो शेयर जारी करेंगे, शेयर इशू करेंगे। तो शेयर को जो परचेज करेंगे तो वो हो जाएंगे कंपनी के टेक्निकली शेयर हो जाएंगे। अब फ्यूचर में जो कंपनी का प्रॉफिट होगा तो प्रोपोर्शनेटली उनको प्रॉफिट मिलेगा। आप जितने का शेयर होगा, ये तो शेयर मार्केट का रूल्स जानते ही होंगे कि जितना बड़ा तुम्हें शेयर होगा प्रोपोर्शनेटली उतना तुमको प्रॉफिट मिलेगा। तो इस तरह की कंपनी जो शेयर के माध्यम से बहुत पैसा जुटा लेती थी, उसको हम ज्वाइंट स्टॉक कंपनी कहते हैं। इस कंपनी का एक फायदा ये होता था, ये कंपनी टूटती नहीं थी। अगर 10, 20, 25, 50 मर्चेंट्स अगर अलग भी हो गए तो हो गए, बट कंपनी हैड टू सर्वाइव लॉन्ग रन, कंपनी हैड टू सर्वाइव। In this way, you can say this company is having the benefit, even if some shareholders are just, you can say, giving up the share, or you can say some merchants are even, you can say, coming out from the company, but company was not going to demobilize, the company was not going to break up, the company had to remain. So this is the benefit of the joint stock company. क्या उनको पूछो, मैं समझा पाया उनको? Mr. Ankur, ask them. Now, are they clear or not? अच्छा, अब now ask me chartered. Chartered means, अब suppose you can say, हिंदी बोलने के लिए बोला है। अच्छा, देखो चार्टर्ड कंपनी में क्या होता था कि एक गवर्नमेंट है, अब मान लो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट है, फ्रेंच गवर्नमेंट है, ओके? वो क्या करती थी कि जैसे ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, तो किसी एरिया में उसको चार्टर दे देती थी कि देखो तुम्हारा अधिकार है, तुम्हारा राइट है कि तुम एकमात्र वहां ट्रेड करोगे और हमारे देश की कोई दूसरी कंपनी वहां ट्रेड करने नहीं देगी। तो कहो उसमें उस गवर्नमेंट का क्या फायदा था? गवर्नमेंट को फायदा ये था कि अगर एक कंपनी को अगर वो राइट देगी तो वो कंपनी जाएगी तो अपने चीपर रेट में, क्योंकि तो मर्केंटाइल कंपनी है तो ट्रेड करेगी, तो चीपर रेट में प्रोडक्ट को खरीदेगी और कॉस्टली रेट में बेचेगी तो उसको प्रॉफिट ज्यादा होगा। प्रॉफिट ज्यादा होगा तो गवर्नमेंट उस पर टैक्स लगाकर उस प्रॉफिट का एक पार्ट ले लेगी, कुछ भी। और अगर उसको मोनोपोली नहीं देगी, उसको चार्टर का मतलब मोनोपोली देना हुआ, तो फिर उस देश की बाकी कंपनीज भी चली जाएगी वहां। और पता चला 6 to 7 कंपनी चली गई और सब आपस में कंपटीशन करने लगे। मानो किसी को चाहिए कॉटन या स्पाइसेस, तो सभी तो एक ही प्रोडक्ट का डिमांड करेंगे, तो उसका कॉस्ट बढ़ जाएगा, और कॉस्ट बढ़ जाएगा तो जाहिर है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट जब ट्रेड में बढ़ेगा तो प्रॉफिट कम होगा, हो सकता है घाटे में भी चली जाए, और घाटे में जाएगी तो गवर्नमेंट को क्या मिलेगा? टैक्स तो मिलेगा नहीं। तो गवर्नमेंट का फायदा यही है कि बेहतर है कि आप एक ही कंपनी को मोनोपोली दो और अपनी कंट्री के दूसरे कंपनी को नहीं जाने दो। लेकिन मैंने एक बात कही कि दिस इज एप्लीकेबल टू द कंपनी ऑफ योर ओन कंट्री, बट डिड दिस यू कैन से वॉच दिस ordinance or this charter, what this charter, you can say, will this charter be accepted by company from other countries like French company, like Dutch company, like Portuguese company? No, never. वो कंपनी उस चार्टर को क्यों मानेगी? तो ब्रिटिश कंपनी मानेगी, जो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट ने इशू किया है। तो कंपटीशन रह ही जाता था, जैसे अपने देश की कंपनी से नहीं रहती थी परंतु अदर कंट्री की कंपनी से होती थी। तो फिर जब कंपटीशन होता था तो दैट रिजल्ट्स इनटू राइवलरी, एंड फाइनली दिस राइवलरी अल्टीमेटली क्रिएटिंग प्रॉब्लम, एंड it led to the conflict between the two companies. So that's why conflict occurred, and sometimes the conflict between the companies might have resulted into a conflict between an European company and an Indian state. So there might be such a situation. अब मिस्टर अंकुर ओके है तो मुझे आगे बढ़ने के लिए बोलो। Let me allow to move further, my friends. If you may be clear, even I have clarified the thing in Hindi as well apart from English. So let me move further. Do you allow me? Okay. Now are they clear? So now just observe the map I have told you. In fact, when there was the advent of the Dutch company or British company, so once the Dutch company or British company came to India, so Portuguese company was cornered out, because the Portuguese company was not a match for the British or the Dutch. They are representing the joint stock company and they were representing the powerful state. So that's why Dutch company could not compete with them. Portuguese company could not compete with them, and British snatched from Portuguese company, means he conquered from Portuguese company the region of Ormuz. Then British captured Arabian Sea to Indian Ocean, and even Sri Lanka, Ceylon. So, and the region between Bay of Bengal to Malacca. So this region was captured by Dutch. As this region was captured by Dutch, so Portuguese were cornered out, and then Portuguese remained confined simply to Goa, Daman and Diu, a part of India. And all the regions were snatched by the British power and Dutch power. So in this way you can say that now the rivalry has had to appear between the British and the Dutch power. There I have to inform you, the Dutch came in the east first, even earlier than the British. And Dutch were in search of the spice trade. Here I have to inform you, earlier the British were also targeting the spice trade. Earlier the British were not making the plan for dealing in trade either in cotton goods or silk goods. Cotton goods and silk goods, they were the, you can say, items which were preferred by the British latter. But earlier even the British just came to the east while searching for spices or spice trade. They were just trying to just find out and you can say discover the potentiality of the spice trade. So when the earlier sea voyage was carried by the British to the east, so earlier sea voyage just moved to Southeast Asia, not West India. But after coming to the east, a conflict started between the Dutch and the British power. The British tried to make a penetration in Southeast Asia, but that blocked the route of the British, and you will find there some incident that is known as Amboina massacre. Amboina massacre. So in Amboina massacre, the 9 British and 10 Japanese were killed. So British could not move to Southeast Asia, and British were cornered out from Southeast Asia. On the other hand, the British just, you can say, concentrated over India. Here, there is a very interesting story I have to share with you. At that time, there was Mughal Emperor Jahangir. So there was a British representative, his name was William Hawkins. He appeared in the court of Jahangir, and he came to see Jahangir, and he just tried to bring Jahangir in good humor. So that's why you can say, when William Hawkins he came to Jahangir court, earlier he learned the language of Persian in order to impress Jahangir. So he talked to Jahangir in Persian language, and Jahangir was Jahangir was definitely, you can say, Jahangir was he fell in the good book of Jahangir, or Jahangir gave him the title of Khan and rewarded him, and Jahangir permitted him to make a factory at Agra. My students, here you have to be clear about what I am using the term factory, but you should not confuse with a factory which is a production center. Factory was not a production center. It was just like a go down. Whenever I have just went to Goa, I found there a lighthouse of Portuguese. So there was a big go down, and go down was known as factory because here the products were stored. It was a storage system. Factory does not mean it was a producing factory. So the Portuguese, British were allowed to make a factory at, build a factory at Agra first. But in the meantime, Portuguese were outrageous against the Mughal order, and Portuguese were disturbed. So Portuguese started to create pressure over Jahangir. Jahangir should have withdrawn, and Jahangir should have withdrawn the order which had earlier been given to the British for establishing a factory at Agra. Actually, up to this period, Jahangir was himself not confident about the fact that whether in naval power, British were a match for Portuguese or not. So at that time, Jahangir were under the impression that possibly in naval field, Portuguese were a paramount power. So Jahangir came under the pressure, and he withdrew the order from the British and just, disallowed the British to make any factory at Agra. So British came to realize, Mughal Empire is, and the Mughal Emperor is under the wrong impression. Possibly, Portuguese are the paramount naval power in India, in the world. But up to this period, the British naval power was the most powerful. British naval power was at its climax after defeating Spanish naval power. Then British emerged to be the most powerful force in the world. But the Mughal Emperor was unaware of the fact. So British decided to demonstrate its naval power first. So in the Battle of Swali, the British successfully defeated the Portuguese naval power. So then Mughal Emperor was impressed and then allowed the British to establish its first factory at Surat in 1630. The British could establish its first factory at Surat in 1613 after defeating the Portuguese power. In this way, my friends, gradually the British progressed in India, and first Surat, then you can see in Bengal, Satgaon, in Fort William, then in South India, you can say Chandragiri, Masulipatam. So at several places, the British could establish their factory. And even Dutch had established some factory in India, particularly Dutch concentrated over Coromandel coast. In spite of the fact that the Dutch concentrated on Southeast Asia, but Dutch could run their factory in some parts of India as well. It does not mean that the Dutch remained in India up to 1795. It was finally in 1795 the British expelled Dutch permanently. Otherwise, Dutch were also maintaining some factory. So in this way, you can say there was division between the Dutch and the British power, and then French were the last, you can say, latecomer, and French came in India in 1764. French company was formed in 1664, and in 1664 the French company was founded, and then French were the very latecomer, and French came to India in 1667, and first factory was established by French at Surat in 1668, and in 1669 at Masulipatam, then in Chandragiri, then at Pondicherry. But my friends, French were the latecomer, but French could give reply to the British, and the French could fight against the British for a longer period, and you will come to know it was the French which would have given a stronger reply to the British company in India, and actual rivalry just cropped up between the British company and French company, leading to Carnatic War. So I have to deal with Carnatic War first, and then we have to move to the Battle of Plassey and Buxar. So my friends, here I have already given you tomorrow I will send you some extra study material as well. First I will deal with Carnatic Wars, and then first Carnatic War, second Carnatic War, and even the map is there, I will deal with it, and then third Carnatic War, and then reasons behind the success of the British in India, and correct sequence of the questions. The Carnatic words were not only decided by the British. So my students, it will take one class more up to Bengal and Battle of Palasian Pasar. Uncle, is time over? Okay, my students, because we are engaging, particularly you, in 1 and 15 minutes, my time is over today, but tomorrow I will, not tomorrow, tomorrow is not, after on Monday I will finish this part, and in the meantime I will send you the book list, and apart from the book list you can say, my students, and then I will send you the book list, and apart from the book list, some extra material also, because we have to start from colonialism. So I hope that in the next class, possibly I will do up to Palasian Pasar, whatever is possible. So in the meantime, you have to go through it, and tomorrow I will send you the book list. So if you like, you can follow it. But first of all, my advice is go through NCERT books. So any question further? Because now my time is over, so I have to stop here. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll see you on Monday.